All right, so here is your June 2025 real estate market update. We're going to go over all of the latest stats for the cities of Temecula, Murrieta, and Menifee, California. Let's go ahead and get into it. Hey guys, hey again, my name is Justin Short. I'm a realtor and team leader with the Short Real Estate team here at Keller Williams in Temecula, California. And this video is our monthly staple. We do the monthly market update. So we're gonna go over the stats that we've seen here locally over the last 30 days and compare them to what we saw a year ago. So we'll give you the year-over-year difference. And we're gonna go over sales price, talk about new listings, how long homes are taking to sell, and then how much inventory is out there on the market. But before I get into all the information, do me a favor. If you are liking real estate videos like this, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Obviously it helps me and helps my channel as we continue to grow it. And then if you guys have any real estate questions, you can feel free to reach out anytime. So you're gonna see my information either down below the video or at the end. You're gonna see my cell phone, my email. You can feel free, you can call, you can text, you can email me. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Of course, would love to help point you in the right direction. Or of course, if I can help you out with your real estate search, would love to help you out with that as well. So we'll go ahead and we'll get into all the information. So we're going to start with the total number of new listings, and we'll start with last year compared to this year, and then kind of talk a little bit about the change and kind of what's going on. I will tell you, just kind of, as a real estate agent, my team, my office, my coworkers, other agent friends that I have here in the Valley, we are definitely seeing more of a real estate market slowdown over the last 30 days or so. So right now it's early June, and it's kind of tough because these stats, it's the previous 30 days, right? So I think you're going to continue to see things change in the stats over the next 30 and 60 days as some of these numbers really come to fruition. But kind of what we're experiencing on a daily basis, we're definitely seeing less showings, we're seeing less offers, we're seeing more price reductions, homes taking a little bit longer to sell. So it just feels like a little bit of a softening of the market for sure. So which is usually not what we see at the end of spring going into summer. So it'll be interesting to see how things go now that school's getting out and people are it's really in that kind of that prime moving season and time of year. So we're going to start with the city of Temecula. So a year ago, so June 2024, we saw a total of 163 new listings come up on the market. And then this year, over the last 30 days, we've seen a pretty big uptick. So we're now up to 195 new listings that have come up on the market. So that's a 20% increase year over year. City of Murrieta, a year ago, we saw 196 new listings. This year, we're at 197, so almost exactly the same. It's just a little bit less than a 1% change there. It's only, one more home coming up on the market this year compared to last year. From City of Menifee, a year ago, we saw a total of 224. This year, we're actually down a little bit to 198. So that's a 12% decrease. So it's kind of a little bit of a mixed bag. Temecula, we're seeing more listings. Murrieta, exactly the same. And then Menifee is less. So kind of interesting, but we'll roll into the other stats. All right, so the next stat we're going to talk about is the total number of active listings. And basically this is just, hey, if I want to buy a home in a given city, say the city of Temecula, how many homes do I have to choose from? So regardless of lot size, of home size, of condo versus townhome, just how much inventory is out there for a given city. And across the board, it's a pretty big tick up in inventory that is sitting there, and that's really why, because it's sitting. So a year ago in the city of Temecula, there was a total of 308 available homes on the market. This year we're now up to 446 available homes on the market. So that's a 45% increase. That's a huge jump up. It's a total, it's almost 140 more homes up on the market this year compared to last year. So City of Murrieta, same thing. It's actually even a little bit more. So a year ago, there was a total of 326 available listings on the market. This year, we're now up to 482 available homes on the market. That's a 48% increase. And then, again, that's over 150, over 150 more homes available this year compared to last year. So that's super significant. And then City of Menifee, A year ago, we were at a total of 376 available homes. This year, we are now up to 498. So a little over 120 more homes to choose from. That's a 31% increase. I gotta tell you, since I started creating these videos, it's been a while. I've probably been doing these monthly videos for like 5 years now. This is the biggest increase that I have seen in the total number of active listings. So it's a pretty big jump up. That is that's significant for sure. And especially when we go over that last stat to where inventory is more or less about the same. Temecula had a few more, but more or less very consistent as far as how many new homes are coming up on the market. But there's just so many more that are sitting and have been sitting over the last couple months that they're starting to accumulate more and more. All right, so the next stat we're going to talk about is your average days on market. So basically this is just how long the average home is taking to sell in each given city. So, the shorter that timeline is, the quicker homes are selling, the more of a seller's market. The longer those homes are taking to sell, the more that's turning into a buyer's market. So across the board, all three cities, average days on market are definitely up, and I think you can probably assume that knowing that there's so much more inventory out there. So city of Temecula, a year ago, I'm actually surprised it was so low, but a year ago the average home was selling in just 17 days. So that's a super heavy seller's market a year ago in Temecula. We are now up to the average home selling in 34 days. So that is, it's doubling. It's a 67% increase, but homes are taking twice as long to sell in Temecula, but they're still only taking up to 34 days. So that is not indicative of a super strong buyer's market. That would, anything under 60 would definitely still be considered a seller's market. So these are stats to keep an eye on over the next couple months as some of these newer transactions start to close and some of these homes that have been sitting. I think you're going to see this continue to this average days on market stat continue to go up and up and up. So city Murrieta, a year ago, the average home was selling in 27 days. This year, it's now up to 41 days. So it's about a 2-week increase. It's 52% more. City of Menifee, a year ago, the average home was selling in 35 days, and now we're up to 43 days. So, across the board, average days on market are definitely up, although just that end result is just not super long. So, again, we'll keep an eye on this over the next couple months and something to pay attention to. All right, so the last stat we're going to talk about, and really what I think is most important, and we're going to talk about the average sales price for each city. As we've kind of talked about the other stats, there is the new listings coming up on the market are more or less about the same, compared to a year ago, but there's a lot more inventory out there. Homes are starting to take longer to sell. It's just not super significant yet, but they are sitting more and more. So you would think we might start seeing some average sales prices dip, and that's really not the case just yet. So we'll start with City of Temecula. So a year ago, the average home in City of Temecula was selling for $806,000. Right now, it's up to $867,000. So that's a huge increase. It's a $61,000 increase. I don't think, I think I talk about this every month, but when we look at this average sales price, you're looking at all the sales over the last 30 days, right? So, a few outliers low or a few outliers high can definitely throw off the stats. I don't think homes have appreciated 8% over the last year, but I definitely think it's fair to say that they're more or less about the same. Maybe they've increased just a little bit, but we're definitely not seeing a decrease there. So, City Murrieta, a year ago, the average home was selling for $739,000. This year, it's up to $782,000, so that's another 6% increase. It's over, it's almost, this is about a $40,000 price increase year over year. Same thing applies, I think, probably some outliers, but overall things trending up slightly, more or less about the same. And then City of Menifee, you are seeing a little bit more of a difference there. So a year ago, the average home was selling for $595,000. This year, they're down to $578,000. So, if there is any real change, that's I think a little bit more believable of a number. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Again, a few outliers can really throw these things off, but that's definitely a dip in average sales price over the last 12 months for Menifee. So. Again, as real estate agents, we're definitely seeing a little bit of a softening in the market. It's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next couple months, especially, there's a lot of unknown happening in the world right now, a lot of transition, a lot of different political things that are going on. People keep asking me, when are interest rates going to drop? We have not seen that happen yet. I think the true answer is nobody really knows when that's going to happen. I think we've all been trying to predict that for the last 2 years. Nobody's been right. So you would assume it's going to happen at some point, but we just don't know when that's actually going to happen. And I would assume when that does happen, we start seeing some more activity and some of these homes start getting snapped up off the market. So anyways, I hope that's good information for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can call, you can text, you can email me. You can see my information down below, and hopefully talk to you soon. Thanks.